Menopause is a natural event in every woman's life, and there are 3 signs that you may be familiar with in menopause: hot flashes, night sweats, and mood swings. And here to help you better understand menopause is Dr. Frida Lewis Hall. She's the Chief Medical Officer of Pfizer. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure, always a pleasure. Now, Dr. Lisa, we know that when our periods begin, our menstrual cycles begin, it really marks the beginning of important body and hormonal changes. Well, I'm here today to talk about what happens when those menstrual cycles stop. That is also a time that marks important changes in both your body and in your hormones. And in particular, in this case, with menopause, it is the specific decline of estrogen and progesterone.
Right, and that typically happens, the average age is about 51. So for most women, about 51 is when their periods are going to stop. And officially, this occurs when the periods have stopped for about a year.
So it's really important for women, if they haven't been tested, to test with their doctor in some cases to see if they're in fact going through menopause. And if they are, this is a great time to pause. And if you haven't been going for regular checkups, if you don't have good healthy habits, and if you haven't been going for regular screenings, now's the time to get started. And here's why that's so important. This is a time when the risk for chronic diseases like diabetes and heart disease and osteoporosis increase really significantly. And if you just took osteoporosis, for example, osteoporosis, because of a loss of estrogen, women start to lose bone very quickly. About half of the women over 50 will actually suffer a fracture of their hip, their spine, or their wrist. Half. So this is a really good time for women, if they don't know what shape their bones are in, to have a bone mineral density test to check and see.
Because this time, we know that a lot of women will worry about weight gain during menopause. And what happens is you lose muscle mass and you gain weight gain, but the most important weight gain is around the abdomen. So if you have a waist that's at 35 inches or greater, then you may be at increased risk for diabetes and other heart disease and uterine cancer as well. A lot of women don't realize that. So your doctor can measure your body fat to determine if you're at risk. And you just want to make sure that you follow up with these health screenings, be more vigilant about your health care.
Absolutely. And heart disease, let's just make sure we mention heart disease.
Yes.
You know this well, but everybody should remember that women in their postmenopausal years are at significantly increased risk for heart disease. It remains the #1 killer of women. And so it's important to do even some of the simple things to check your risk factors for heart disease, like have your cholesterol checked or make sure that your blood pressure's been regularly checked.
So this is the time to maybe see your OB/GYN even more. Some people think they can stop seeing their doctor, but you pointed out something. You do want to make sure this is menopause and not other disorders that can cause your period to be irregular, like thyroid. And once that happens and you can start the dialogue, then you can start to have regular exams to check your bones, make sure you're up on cervical cancer, get your pelvic exam and all other cancer screening. Decreasing estrogen levels, they can really cause the vagina to lose moisture, become thin and shrink. This can cause problems. So all these things can be detected and discussed and, lead you to a better life in menopause.
And women these days are living a third of their life after menopause, a third of their lives after menopause. We need to make that a good third, right?
Absolutely.
With really good health. And many women at this point have neglected their health because we're so busy taking care of everybody else. So this is an important opportunity to really focus on yourself and to make sure that you're practicing the best health habits. In order to give some help in that, we have some tips and tests on healthierworld.net.
And you can also visit thedoctorstv.com for more information on menopause. Thank you so much for being here today.
My pleasure. Always my pleasure.
Still ahead, are you at risk of developing one of the most common lung diseases? And for those of you who rely on an oxygen tank to breathe, we may have found a trick to help. Stay tuned.